Welcome back to Soccer Cards United, episode 179 of the greatest soccer podcast on earth. My name is Jason, that's Enzo. Hi Enzo.
Hello Jason.
Very exciting day today. It's a Q&A episode.
We're back with Q&A. Pretty good.
Pretty good. When I was doing the running order for today, I accidentally duplicated it and I skipped an episode. Thought I was going to episode 180. And then I remembered that a few episodes ago I said that we would do Q&A episodes every 10 episodes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So 70, 80 and all that. But then I forgot that.
I was never in 79.
Now it's 79. But I think from 90.
190. What are we going to do for episode 200? We got to start planning.
I don't know.
Well, that's all right. I'll get my hat on.
Yeah, have a think.
Okay.
We're restricted because we don't do guests. And
we could have like a fun themed podcast episode.
Yeah.
Well, no, let's not ruin it. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. So, Q&A. Thank you for everyone who sent in your questions and your comments and such. Let's start with, I believe, the first question we received, which was from Kevin. And Kevin says, question for Thursday. Today is Thursday, Kevin, and here's the question. What is your strategy for moved players that get passed by other moves? I'm thinking of Charles de Ketelaere, who gets the move to Milan, doesn't play much. Then Milan gets Okafor, Pulisic, Musa, etc. and then loans out CDK to Atalanta. His cards just go back in my box until 2026, right? Well, the first thing to say is in the specific case of Charles de Ketelaere, he scored on his first game in the league for Atalanta. That was his first Serie A goal.
Yeah, and he's going to be against Frosinone next weekend, and he will probably score again. So,
I think we've seen with the likes of CDK, Jeremy Doku, and all sorts of other people, that like it's very hard to map out someone's career.
Yeah.
And very few careers follow that Haaland thing of Champions League qualifying club to Champions League group stage regular to Champions League winner. Yeah. That's a kind of like FIFA career mode.
Yeah, an ideal scenario.
Yeah. That rarely happens. And I think for me, I would have, earlier in my hobby journey, I would have panic sold stuff a lot more. But I think now my advice to people would more just be, just wait.
Yeah, if you have a really nice rookie and it doesn't sell for much at the moment, just wait.
Just wait, yeah.
They're young. Like, footballers don't have linear careers. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. And we saw like with Gonzalo Ramos when he scored that hat-trick against Switzerland. That's all you need. We saw with Kai Havertz scoring in the Champions League final.
Yeah.
You know,
football's not linear. People have long careers. I always talk about Luka Modric. He started his career very slow and then became one of the best midfielders of all time.
Yeah, Ballon d'Or winner in the end.
Yeah, so World Cup finalist.
Yeah, I mean, I often think of this with Ryan Cherki, who's still at Lyon. Kind of started to get into the team in a consistent way under Laurent Blanc towards the end of last season. Lyon have had a shocking start to this season in Ligue 1, but everyone who seems to be in the know still says that Ryan Cherki is class. One of the most talented youngsters out there.
We bought his tops now and just held it since.
Yeah, because it's like,
should I add them into our PSA submission?
Maybe so.
Yeah.
So that's like, it's just one where I think just wait.
Yeah, and to be honest, CDK, I don't even think you'll be holding him for 2026. I think he's going to have a big season because Atlanta are such a fun club to be at and could really help him. So maybe he could hit the ground running. Especially
if he has a great season on loan with Atalanta and then goes back to Milan where he's playing with Pulisic.
Not able to. We have like the worst contract ever with them. Like if he plays, basically they're not obliged to buy him.
But if he plays a certain number of games?
No, it's like there's no obligation to buy. So if they take him for a year and he's shite, we have him back and we're fucked. If he but then they also have I think like a release clause like 20 million or something. So it's like if he has an amazing season, they get to just take him for pennies. It's like the worst agreement ever, which kind of shows where Milan were at. That like we just get rid of him. But yeah, if he has a great season, they'll probably buy him, but they'll probably sell him straight away or then the following year, something like that. There's like a really bad contract there, but I don't think we'll see him back at Milan in a positive way. Okay,
wow. That's such a strange arrangement to have with a Champions League rival.
Horrible.
So maybe not that exact example, but by the way, did you see Christian Pulisic shirts represent 43% of AC Milan shirt sales this season?
We're excited about him. He scored a stunner on his debut.
Yeah.
He could have a huge year. If he stays fit, he could have a huge year.
Yeah. I saw him early on in the first half against Bologna. He went to ground to make a tackle and almost injured himself, and I was just like, oh god,
Yeah, stop! Don't do it.
stop, relax. There's a fullback. Let him get it. It's like Theo Hernandez is back there. You just focus on your own game for the first 20 minutes.
Stay on your feet.
But yeah, he ended up having a good game, linking up with his old mates, Giroud and Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah.
So hold your car, hold your horses is the advice, I think.
Yeah, don't panic.
But also, sorry, just to say, in terms of going back in the box to 2026, I think, and I'm a divil for this, as we'd say in Ireland, but like you have to be ready to take advantage of the moments. So maybe not as far as having like every card you own on eBay or whatever, or like updating your prices weekly,
A
but
few drafts.
a few drafts. You have to kind of be ready to go, or at least know where to put your hand to the cards.
Yeah. And we say that as people that don't know where.
That's what I'm saying. It's like kind of like I do what I say, not as I do thing, because we often see players and we're like, oh, look what he just did. I thought we had that all 50 rookie card.
Tim Weah, I had all his rookies. He scored in the World Cup, and I was not ready to go. So
there you are.
That's where like Comp C comes in handy and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Okay, so this next question is from Andre. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, love the podcast and just missed you in Chicago by a few days. Quick question: Messi's rookie has been my grail card, and finally had a chance to pick up 2004 Mega Cracks Messi rookie 89 and 62. That's card number. Both PSA 7 a few months ago. This was before he joined Inter Miami and took off. I plan on holding, but do you see the Messi rookie taking over the Pele card as an essential grail card like Michael Jordan is for basketball for soccer fans? And if so, any estimates on long-term growth? Thanks in advance. I think the 71 bis is that card, right? So he has 4, 5, 6 rookies in his original season. So he has 3 of the Barcelona Mega Cracks, which is fine. Great cards. We own 1 each actually. We have 2. I have the 89, and I think we might have the 62. So he has 3 Mega Cracks. Then he has 1 Mega Cracks for La Liga, 71 bis, which is his most recognizable rookie. Then he has a Mundi Chromo, and I think he has a Mundi Chromo sticker or a Liga Esta sticker. I can't remember. I think Liga Esta. So basically, yes and no. So I think the 71 bis clearly in the market is like the go-to, right? It's the La Liga Mega Cracks. That is like the most generic, most kind of normal, most traditional rookie card. If you're like
a alternative investment advisor, and you're advising a very, very wealthy client, you're like, get the 71 bis.
71 bis. That's a standalone. That's at the top of the tree of Messi rookie cards, and the rest kind of follow from there. Taking over the Pele, I don't think it's taken over the Pele, because Pele, I think he has a few very, very, very rare rookies, so it's very hard to overtake it. I think the population on the Pele is always going to be lower than the Messi. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know what they are, but it's definitely lower. 71 bis, I feel like there's like 30 PSA 10s, something along those lines. Maybe 13, somewhere in that range. Like it's small figures, but I'm pretty sure the Pele is 1 or 0. You know, it's low.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's going to take over Pele at all, but it's definitely going to be a standalone, really, 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 really desirable card, especially in the top tier grades. Of course, like this one here, he's shown us one of the 82, the 62 is a pop 91. So again, that's still a lot, right? For the needle to move, a pop 91, that's a lot. Especially obviously PSA 7. There's going to be more. But yeah, Messi is at a very, very high point because he's in Miami. He's killing it. He's unbelievable. He's incredible. A lot of people are talking about Messi as if they'd never watched him play.
They hadn't.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. They're like, this guy's, but that's why you want him to move to the States, because ultimately people haven't seen him play. So it's a good purchase, always a good thing to have a Messi rookie, getting as high a grade as you can. I think we have a PSA 9 and a PSA 8 is what we have, not the 71 bis. 71 bis is my grail card. I'm trying to get it. So that's kind of the go-to.
Yeah. I think in terms of like becoming the grail card for soccer collectors, I think it'll be kind of similar to Pele and Messi's like status within the sport in general, where it's like Pele is the kind of the legend. He's almost like kind of
folklore.
Yeah, he has like kind of like a mythic quality to him, and because he came, as everyone knows, he kind of came out of Brazil onto the world stage, and it was like all black and white clips, people going like, who is this guy? You know, watching like a little 20-inch TV, trying to be, and Messi just isn't like that, because we saw him since he was a kid.
So we saw every element of it.
We saw every element, yeah. We've seen it from every angle in 4K for 20 years.
Yeah.
They didn't have 4K maybe not 20 years ago. But anyway, you know what I mean. So I think there is a difference.
Yeah. Pele is also so far beyond the sport as well.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way that Messi isn't, I would say.
In terms of being a global icon.
Yeah, but beyond, he's not just a soccer star everyone knows. He kind of, again, global icon in that real realm of breaking culture in a huge way.
Yeah.
And obviously, don't get me wrong, if you don't like soccer, you still know Messi, but I just think it's a bit different.
But I think that's probably even true just culturally. I think, like, you can be, if you were like a movie star in the 70s, say you were like Robert Redford, everybody knew Robert Redford. But now you can be like a super famous actor on a super successful show, and loads of people don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Because culture is much more containerized and segmented. So like you can be like a huge celebrity to these people and no one else really knows. I think Pele was that guy where it was like he was like a star when you could still be a
star.
A star.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
So best of luck with those Messi rookies anyway. Hold them. Andre, thanks for the message. Okay, Jake the mailman comes in, long-time contributor to the show. Thank you, Jake. And Jake says, what do you guys know about... He's quizzing us. What do you know about Lamine Yamal? Is he someone we should keep an eye on, or just another young player that will disappear in 6 months? So if you guys don't know Yamal, I keep getting confused. I keep saying Yamin Lamal instead of Lamine Yamal.
Yamal, another Barcelona prospect.
Yeah, 16 years of age.
The youngest of them all, I think.
Yeah. Xavi has started him in the first 2 games of La Liga over because Ousmane Dembele left, which leaves a hole on the right hand side, and Ansu Fati could play there, or Ferran Torres could play there, and both of them have been left on the bench because Xavi likes Lamine Yamal more. He's been described as the kind of player that when the ball gets to his feet, something always happens.
Oof.
Which is kind of like
quite a compliment.
Quite a compliment. That's what I always say about Bukayo Saka, is that way. Direct. Exciting, you know. In terms of what's going to happen, I know that the hobby is going to get excited about this guy. I know that he's going to have 4.5 million rookie cards. But I don't know really what more he could do than Pedri or Gavi or Ansu when he first broke onto the scene.
Yeah, he's up there with a lot of other talented Barcelona youths that might kind of impact this price because people be like, oh, this, that and the other. Ansu Fati got injured. But again, careers are non-linear. I think Gavi and Pedri are performing at such a great level.
Yeah.
If Yamal does as well, I think there's more goals in him probably because of his position.
Yeah.
And that could excite people, but it's ultimately he's way too young to. He shouldn't even have a rookie card. Almost, obviously he should. He's playing, but it's kind of like it could take like Yusufu Moukoko. It's like it might take a few years. He's still a child. So he says.
I think with that like young players coming in, and Xavi has said about him that like, you know, if he's old enough, he's good enough kind of thing, or if you're good enough, you're old enough kind of thing. And it's like, I get that and everything, but like we've seen Pedri's out now till after the international break with injury because they just flogged him.
He had a spectacularly long
stretch of playing.
Yeah.
And Gavi's the same. Like Gavi played every waking minute last season for Spain and for Barcelona. Like we saw, I think this is speaking of Bukayo Saka, I saw a tweet there, was like he started every available Premier League game for the last 2 years or something, and he's 20 or something, you know.
Not good.
It's like these kids are not supposed to be playing this much. This is how you end up with no cartilage in your knees when you're 25.
Yeah.
So like it's in 10 years Yamal will be 26, and you talk about Luka Modric having a late blooming career. Your prime when you're a midfielder is like 27 to 31. I don't know what's going on.
No, it's kind of one of those things where time will tell. I think COVID resulted in young players playing younger.
Yeah.
5 subs, which stuck around, is allowing that more so.
Yeah.
Potentially spells trouble, but we won't know.
Yeah.
Soccer Cards on Twitter. Love the pod, guys. Keep up the good work. Question about redemptions. With so many issues at Panini, of which we'll talk about Monday, is it still sorry saving up redemptions for shows like the National?
I bet that was an autocorrect from Worth.
Is it still worth? Yeah. Is it still worth saving up redemptions for shows like the National, or is that now too risky? Potentially too risky. Potentially.
We were just having this conversation about a Phil Foden redemption that we have.
I would say if you have non-NFL redemptions and they're decent, I would redeem them and or sell them. Trying to save them. I mean, ultimately, I would say redeem them all, because ultimately, if it's not too risky, because you have to have them redeemed for the national anyway.
Yeah.
Redeemed and unfulfilled. Redeem them and hope that Panini are still doing their thing at the next national. That would be the best thing to do. And if you redeem them fast enough, you might actually get them, at which point you're kind of grand.
Yeah, I think the other option is to sell them, but if everyone stops redeeming, if there's a flood of redemptions onto the...
Yeah, I think I'd like to imagine right now selling them is difficult.
Yeah.
So I would say redeem it and hope that the show still goes on, they redeem. If it's NFL, I'd probably panic more, because apparently they're not allowed really to. I don't know
what's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, if the NFL Players Association won't let them print cards, they're not going to sign their autographs.
Yeah. So
although Panini did say that they're like...
The show still goes on.
Panini came out and said, well, we have the NFL license and we have 300 NFL players on exclusive agreements.
So the cool thing is with Panini, I think a lot of their boxes for the NFL season have already been printed and are just waiting for a release day.
Yeah.
If they literally get banned from producing them, that could be a really fun set of boxes that kind of go missing out of the warehouse and start appearing, and just owning one would be so cool without knowing anything about the current NFL rookies or whatever.
Yeah.
That could be some of the coolest shit ever. But ultimately, it's a big mess. We move, Jason.
Okay.
Is Lionel Messi, this is sports card nonsense, Jason. Is Lionel Messi too high to buy right now? No. Probably not the best time to buy him. But he is still one of the greatest player of all time. So ultimately, if you're thinking long term, no. But it is definitely not the best time to buy him. But at the same time, I'm not sure when the next best time to buy him is going to be. He just won the World Cup and he's going to be at Miami for some time.
Well, MLS off season, I would say.
There you go.
I would say just don't buy him right this
now.
second.
Don't buy them after a trophy and a final.
Yeah.
I'd
say just hang on till an off season.
But who knows what he's going to do in the next 12 or so games, or whatever the case may be. There was a second part of that question, Jason. I think that's for you.
I'm not answering that.
Oh my god.
We
move on to the next one, Jason. We're quick fire a little bit. Come on.
All right, London Cards. Are Americans still high on Katerina Macario, or has she been forgotten? She got injured and wasn't in the World Cup squad. But even if she had been in the World Cup squad, they didn't have a good World Cup. So Americans right now are not really high on their women's players because of the bad World Cup. But she's at Chelsea. There's no better place for a female soccer player. So I don't know, you'd have to ask Americans, but I don't see any reason to write her off just yet. Gotta see how she performs at Chelsea in her first season after the big injury. Okay. Sionica says, Merlin or Chrome? I'm poor and can't buy both.
Merlin.
I
think the jewels in Chrome and triples in Chrome are probably better, but Merlin. I like Merlin. I think it might be shorter print run. It's fun.
I would say if you were going to open a box of something, I'd open a box of Merlin. If you're going to open a case of something, I'd open a case of Chrome.
That's brilliant.
So
even with the ball case hit, match ball case hit.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair.
Also, what's going on with Renaissance this year? It's everywhere.
Tops need to really, really work on case hits.
Work it out, guys.
Short print.
Figure it out. Figure out how to do short print stuff.
Like the PSA 10 population should be under 15.
Yes.
Then you've done it.
You can't, it should be like a case where you can't get these.
You don't find... I hit it out of Chrome. This is my only tiff, I'm going to say. Out of Chrome, I hit a case hit Joga Bonito, and it was Kaka, and I got really excited in his Malankia. I said, amazing. These are case hits. They weren't case hits last year, but now Joga Bonito's case hit. Class. Went online to eBay. What are they selling for? Got a case hit Kaka. Looks unbelievable. Great design, by the way. €8.
Yeah.
8. Not 80.
8.
And that's because they don't know how to do short print. It's very strange.
Okay. So
I think right now, just to cut in,
yeah,
I think they were so focused on we need our case hits to look great. And they thought that was it. They thought Panini were killing it with Kaboom and Color Blast and all this. Downtown. We needed something that looks as good as that. And they had Joga Bonito looks really good. But it's not. If you look at the PSA 10 pop report of a Kaboom, I don't think I've ever seen one over 30. That's the trick. Short print. But I was like, they still do case hits, so why? I would honestly say for a case hit, have 200 subjects. That way each individual subject has F all of that case.
Yeah, I mean, that has come up before about widening the checklist, but I think the problem is that we spent a long time complaining about the right players being in the right... Do you know what I mean? Because I think they've finally caught up and been like, all right, well, only really 6 or 8 players are the ones everyone wants. And... because I think the opposite problem would be if you were getting
but you can still get kabooms of players that aren't that desirable.
You can get Danny Ings kaboom.
That's what I'm saying. But it's still it goes for more than £8. And it's partially down just to the print. I don't know. There's a lot of work to be done on case hits.
I think I look at Panini versus Topps, and what I always like about Panini is the hits are hittier.
Yeah, and I don't understand why.
I don't understand why either.
Because it's still one per case, and their Kaboom checklists aren't 200, so it's still one per case. But it seems like they're shorter print run, and I don't
How
think
does that work?
Panini make less cases. I think I'm sure internally they're also confused because it's like this weird. People often say, like for Renaissance, they're like, if this was a Panini case hit, it would be worth 300 quid.
Absolutely.
And for some reason, it's not. It's very confusing.
Yeah. But also just on Renaissance, you've seen them in blasters,
But like you see Kabooms and blasters,
but not as often.
Well, I'll say this: Renaissance on the secondary market are doing well,
Are they?
relatively well.
What's a Hyunmin Son Renaissance go for?
Let me do Son. Ta-dun, ta-dun, ta-dun. So there's one from last year.
Oh, maybe he didn't have one this year, but what's it go for?
Oh no, he does have this year. There's one up for €150.
Oh, that's alright.
€120. Let me see sold. Like 100 quid. Like you can't. €116. Like that's grand. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's grand. Do you know?
Big Kevin Durant. I always read this name wrong. Kevin Durant, 35 big cards. Asks, will Fanatics finally do a flawless soccer type release? So I guess what Fanatics means Topps there.
Mm-hmm.
Will they do a flawless type release, high end stuff?
Hope so.
Hope so.
But I'll be scared of. I can't afford the old flawless, and definitely won't be able to afford the new one. That's how I feel.
You don't feel it's going to be accessible?
I don't think so.
The great thing about Soccer Flawless was at the time when it came out, soccer was in a place where they...
But flawless was Panini.
Yeah.
So like, they're not doing a dynasty this year.
Topps doing UEFA Dynasty, yeah.
Yeah, but that's what he asked. Will Fanatics finally do a flawless soccer type release?
Well, I was thinking maybe Flawless is slightly above Dynasty. Is that wrong to think?
I don't think it's wrong to think necessarily.
Is that wrong? Am I wrong?
No, I think a lot of people have preference to flawless.
Right.
But what I'm saying is Topps' answer to flawless is Dynasty.
Is
and
Dynasty.
that is coming.
That is
so
coming.
Fanatics, will they finally do it? They are.
They are doing it.
They're doing it with Dynasty.
All right. Okay. I'll leave the last two questions to the end. Or hang on a second. There's a few questions about Saudi, so I want to skip those till the end because they're all together. JD96, do you think is there room for more women's sets? As an England fan, we still haven't had any hobby cards for Russo, Toon, and Kelly, for example, despite having a couple of really successful years, maybe a WSL set one day. Also, what are your thoughts on current print runs? The latest UCC set has more than doubled from last year, for example. I think
it trebled.
Trebled. It's more than double.
Yeah, but I mean, last year's one was hard to get your hands on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they could have... They didn't need to touch the print run that much, I don't think. Obviously, they had a World Cup year, so they were thinking interest is going to be at a fever pitch. I think some of the parallels are numbered a bit too high, but ultimately, I think it's a really nice set in terms of the stock.
Yeah, and in terms of more cards, Panini have the England women's license. I don't know why no one has the WSL license. And Topps are doing the European Championships now. They took over that, so they'll be doing stuff for Euro 2024, and the next Women's Euros is in 2025. Mm-hmm. So you might get your Lionesses
in there.
Just wait out a year and a half.
Panini obviously are doing the Donruss as well, which is going to come out soon enough.
That's right.
So that might have them in it. That should have them in it.
It should definitely have them in it.
Yeah.
I think we're
there's a good amount of women's products now.
Yeah, and maybe we're okay for the next year or so in terms of keeping it at this level. Because we don't want too many.
I do think long-term stuff like this year's Chrome is going to be a really desirable box. Long-term.
Yes, long-term. Okay, skip that for a second. Orange Liam. We got two questions from Liam's. What are your thoughts on the numbering on numbered parallels? Should it always be on the front, back, or dependent on the set?
I like it on the front a lot.
Yes.
I really do. Because like sometimes you look at a card, especially like... I hate trying to explain to people at shows as well. And this is like maybe not even the reason for it, but at a show, I'm like, this card's blue, and so I turn it to the back and see the way it's numbered there, and I always look at like the actual card number, and I get confused. Whereas if it's there, you can point on it. Look, it's blue, and look at this serial number here also. Having
the serial number and the card number on different sides of the card
will help casuals.
Is helpful.
And also, I think just for opening a pack, you open it, you'd always see at the back, you'd say you got Rafael Leao, and it says 2 of 50. You've kind of seen it and the magic is kind of gone. But now you'll see Rafael Leao and you'll be like, when you're turning it over, you're going, I wonder if it's coloured number, and you check it and it is or isn't, and it's more fun for opening, I think, because you don't need to worry so much about covering the back. Now you can release the back and you're like, right, we know who the player is. Is it a base card or not? And then I think it's fun. I like it on the front.
Yeah, and if you can't remember what parallels are what, like me, it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, and then from a different Liam, We have, will Topps ever get back to releasing hobby sets before the summer? This seems worse than ever, and now we're hitting a logjam of releases as we enter the new season. I don't know what we're going to do about this long term.
This year was particularly bad, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, like...
They're aware of it, though. They definitely are. I think they're going to...
Yeah.
Fanatics coming in, I think that's one of the things they might be able to fix is the release schedule.
Yeah.
Because it's ultimately extremely inefficient. It'll get fixed. I don't know why this year felt worse. Like, there seems to be more delays, but it might be because Fanatics are doing so many different things that it wasn't a priority. I don't really know. I don't know what causes the delay, but I feel like the baseball was also delayed this year, I think.
Yeah, well, there's the whole like supply chain issues and all that stuff. But like, I don't know. I think,
but I don't think it comes from not understanding that they're late. Do you know what I mean?
No, they know they're late. They're just powerless to do anything about it.
Yeah. So ultimately, will that get fixed long term? I think the answer is yes. Hopefully, it's sooner rather than later, but I don't know.
I personally think it cannot be underestimated how different soccer release season would be if it was taking place
during the season
in May and June.
Yeah.
As opposed to August and September of the following season.
Do you mean like May? Like, do you mean like Champions League Chrome releasing now for the upcoming year?
I'm saying like if you release Champions League Chrome in May or in like and Stadium Club and all stuff, like where the season is over, or just finishing, that's so much better than like now I'm thinking about 23, 24.
Yeah.
And I'm opening products from 20 and then going like, oh yeah, I guess he hadn't moved.
Yeah.
Because like some players move at the start of the summer.
Yeah.
So he's been whatever.
Ideally, I would say like releasing your first set of the year in like December, or maybe October, and then in like February, March, you're releasing updates with people that moved during the January transfer window. Yeah. So for that, right now, it's a complete mess.
But I think everyone's aware of it, so we have to just wait and see.
Yeah, just a waiting game.
I'd like to see what the plan is to get out of it, but whatever. Kevin asks, is the tradition of post-match jersey swaps limiting the jerseys that can be put into cards?
Maybe.
I'm not sure jersey swaps are happening at that high a volume.
Messy. I think people are watching Inter Miami. Every game he finishes, someone is like
asking for his jersey.
Please give me this jersey. Please. I'm from Argentina. There seems to always be one Argentinian on the other team.
There's always an Argentinian journeyman.
That gets it.
Yeah.
He gets to have the jersey because he's Argentinian.
I'd love if that was the reason why we couldn't get match worn relics, because they're always swapping them. But I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Okay. Meta Coffee. How do you approach Julian Alvarez? I love him, but he has so many cards. It's underwhelming.
Overwhelming.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, you just stick to the Panini Instant in his River Plate kit, and you're good to go.
It's very simple.
It's very simple stuff. He has so many unbelievable cards. It's insane. And now he's getting more because more stuff is coming out. Like we just seen, he has some Merlin rookies. We're seeing some image. I don't know if he has image variation, but he has some Sapphire cards in Chrome. It's like, who do you pick? He has World Cup Prism, which is always good, especially when you win the World Cup. Yeah. But ultimately, he has Donruss rated rookies. He has it all. But I feel like that's what happens in NFL and NBA. Like they get all these different types of things, and then there's kind of a system of what's the best and what's not. Tends to be an RPA on card auto is the best thing, but he doesn't seem to have any of that. No autographs in licensed products. All about that River Plate, although it's not really. So I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah, I think you can't go wrong sticking to World Cup Prism.
That's fair.
Okay, with the glut of new products, what will separate a release from the others for collectors? This is a tough thing, differentiating the products, but we've seen more and more stuff coming out from the companies trying to differentiate the products from each other.
Yeah, even numbering on the front of Merlin makes it a bit different to Chrome.
Yeah.
Different images, of course, help.
Checklists.
Like we could end up getting, like, I'm assuming Dynasty is for the season gone, so we could end up with a Julian Alvarez, if they get his autograph, Julian Alvarez Dynasty rookie.
Yeah.
Now it's like, but overall, I think Soccer Cards United are in the camp of Julian Alvarez is unbelievably amazing and underrated.
And how are sets going to differentiate from each other? Just going to have to keep trying, but it's hard when it's the same players over the course of 18 months of releases, it feels like.
Yeah, stuff.
Okay.
In fairness, the World Cup year didn't help.
No, it really didn't help.
Like the rookies got a Donruss, they got a Prism, they got all sorts of stuff.
Mosaic. In a normal year, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, no.
Okay. What are your thoughts on Antonio Silva and Mateus Sule? Also, what's your favourite PC card? Antonio Silva is a centre half for Benfica, who seems to be highly rated by the Portuguese. I don't make much of him in terms of a hobby. Mateus Sule is an attacking midfielder for Juventus, young guy from Argentina, linked with a couple of clubs in the Bundesliga. I don't think much of him either. Maybe that's short-sighted. I know they're both rookies in last season. But I don't think the rookie system is too much of a meritocracy. I think it's kind of just who can be put in.
My favourite PC card is my 1 of 1 Top's Finest Footballers flashback, whatever you want to call it. Olivier Giroud, 1 of 1, hit it myself, and I just love that super factor. It looks unbelievable. I'm thinking about getting it graded just to have it slabbed, but I don't know.
My favourite PC item is currently on its way from an eBay auction.
Oh.
And I'll unveil it in due course.
In due course. It's coming.
Okay. Alright, a few questions here about Saudi Arabia. So I'll just ask them all and then we can kind of just have a chat. Okay, breaking even AU. What impact will the spend and rise of the Saudi League have on soccer in general and the card market? Could a Saudi team make it into the Champions League and a card product be released? Then Alex Kent asks, is there any bump in value for player signing for Al Ahly? Or will the value tank? What impact? I don't know why this is only about Al Ahly, but what will they have in the hobby in general? And then someone says, someone's been investing in Gabri Vega, haven't we? Then Church of Cards says, no impact. However, if you're looking for a silver lining, Vega plays in Saudi for a couple of years with some experienced players, makes his money, returns to Europe in a blaze of glory, has a low pop of cards given there's no Saudi Pro League set, and the rest is history. Or maybe I'm just being delusional. Then Card Sale says, or he goes to Saudi and when Newcastle decided to bolster their ranks, he moves there for £1 and is playing in the Champions League. And then finally, somebody asked, what do you think of Gabri Vega moving to the Saudi Pro League?
I'm not delighted because we have a Gabri Vega rookie that's really, really nice. He was looking like he was moving to Napoli, which would have been such a fun signing.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the Saudi pull is very strong. I think we all think what Tony Kroos thinks, which is that he just commented on the Instagram post from Fabrizio Romano and just said, embarrassing.
Yeah, embarrassing. It is embarrassing for everybody involved.
So, not great. But it's not forever. I do think a lot of players are going to do 1 or 2 years and dip.
Yeah.
But it's not great.
Rafa Benitez, who's the current Celta Vigo coach, said look at Yannick Carrasco. I had Yannick Carrasco playing for Dalian in China. And then Carrasco went there from Atletico, played there for a couple of years, then came back to Atletico and is still playing in the team. But obviously Rafa Benitez is saying that as a fella who's just got 60 million to spend the transfer window. So
he's happy.
He's happy out. He's like, yeah, it's good, yeah. In general, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, they were talking about Karim Benzema
being unhappy
at whatever, Al Ittihad.
Sure, isn't Jota as well trying to leave now?
Jota's trying to leave as well.
So
it just seems like a mess. I heard a Saudi journalist on a podcast recently, and he was saying that this all happened very, very quickly.
Yeah,
and that the clubs themselves are like have gone and hired managers and sporting directors and directors of football operate, and they're trying to build clubs kind of fast, and that in a lot of situations the transfers are not thought out, and the teams are not being built. It's like more like about who's available than what do we want. And the Asian Football Federation have said that you're not going to be able to use all these foreign players in the Asian Champions League, which is ultimately what
they want. They're trying to get into the actual Champions League as well. There's all sorts happening.
Yeah.
A bit mad. In the meantime, I think if somebody moves to Saudi, it's not good for their value. Yeah, definitely not.
Oh, that's controversial to say.
But I think that's the case. It'd be interesting to see someone move to Saudi but still have a good international career and see what happens there.
Yeah.
You never know. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, we're back on
Monday
to catch up with all sorts of crazy hobby news that I'm sure will come out over the weekend.
Madness.
And in the meantime, have a good weekend, everyone.
And check out soccercardsunited.com because we have a lot of new releases. And I believe by the time this podcast goes up, we might even have Women's Chrome on the website. Maybe.
Wow. And have a look at the YouTube channel because there's been a few box openings added recently and they're good fun.
That's true.
All right, everyone. So long.
Bye.